best entertainment on the earth. Tune in for Comics with Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. Been a long time since we talked about what's going on with Steve Ditko. Of course, there are some legal actions pending. And it goes to the whole question about character ownership and rights and where all this stuff shakes out. So let's see what we got here. This mail talks about it. It says, Dear Perch, a while back you talked to Wes on his show, Thinking Critical, about the Steve Ditko estate suing Marvel, which is owned by Disney, to have the Doctor Strange and Spider-Man copyrights and IP null and void. Now, you know you're not an attorney or lawyer if there's a difference in the profession, but learning from history with creators trying to get back their work, in this case, it's Steve Ditko estate. The people in this case in Steve Ditko estate will lose in not getting the IP, but there will be some compromise between the two parties. The late Steve Ditko wasn't a compromising man and would damage the man's legacy if Steve Ditko estate compromised. Also, money might change hands in a lawsuit. My question to you, Perch, will there be an out-of-court settlement? How much will Marvel or Disney benefit from this? What will the Steve Ditko estate do in post-lawsuit in keeping the late Steve Ditko's work for hire, characters, creator owned work alive in the public and Steve Ditko fans? What are your thoughts on this? All right. The last question, I'm not sure. So what will they do for other kind of creator-owned stuff? I probably continue to shop it, but here's my belief of what's going to happen. I absolutely think they are going to reach a settlement. Disney and ultimately Marvel and Sony, who has some rights, of course, to Spider-Man, they are not going to go, well, we just made $1 billion on a movie. I guess we're stuck. So it's a shame. We built this character up, but now he's going back to Steve Ditko. They're not going to let that happen, even if they have to shell out a very large sum of money, and they will. So this case will be settled in a out of court, undisclosed settlement that will probably be $100 million. I mean, it's going to be a huge amount, maybe more. But more importantly, what I think the game is here, and I think why, to your point, would Steve Ditko have liked to settle? He definitely would not have. In his personality, he would have wanted to, he was an absolutist, he would have wanted to take it to the conclusion. I think that what will occur is that, as kind of what happened with Kirby and others, is they will, as part of the lawsuit or part of the settlement, the agreement will be that there is a created by Steve Ditko, even if it's a created by Steve Ditko as a line separate and apart from created by Stan Lee. So Ditko gets his own billing, his own kind of unique thing, and that Steve Ditko is credited for everywhere you see Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and some of these other characters. My belief is that will happen. My belief is that you will see some attempt at this with the Doctor Strange movie when that does come out here in a week or two, 3 weeks, I guess 3 weeks from now. You will see them do some billing about Steve Ditko, which will kind of be a trial balloon to say, hey, we'll do this whenever the character shows up. We'll put a note there, and therefore, how about we give you a lot of money and just always promise to do this? And then the profile and the recognition of Steve Ditko gets rises. And so then the message back, if anyone complains like, hey, Steve Ditko wouldn't have wanted a settlement, they'll say, yeah, but it was important for Steve Ditko to get his credit, for him to get his time in the sun. It was important to our fans, new and old, to recognize that Ditko is an important part of the comic book industry. And so therefore, that's what we've done here. Even though he wouldn't have really cared about the money, now we can take this money and funnel it into various projects, but the name and brand recognition will go up. And I think the part two will be, then they will look at a lot of the creator-owned characters and the stuff that isn't as well known by Ditko, and they'll start shopping it, because now Ditko has a slightly higher profile, his name is out there, and they'll start saying, hey, Ditko did other things, here's some stuff that's closer to his heart if you want to go in on this, and they'll start shopping around Ditko's name. I think there will be some attempt to do a biography of the guy, because he's got an interesting story, so that's where you go to a Wes Anderson and you say, hey, how about a Wes Anderson film about Steve Ditko's life? And that's just where this all rolls. Cynically, yeah, it's about money. They'll make some money off of it, and the estate will do quite well. Disney and Marvel know that this is all coming, and they know how the game is played, so they will, let it kind of dangle out there in a court case for a while, and then they will come in and write a big check and move on, and that's what we're in for. So that's the simple conclusion. I would be absolutely shocked if that isn't what happens. I think it's inevitable. That's exactly the road that we'll go down, and this is what we're all looking at in the next. I don't know. My belief is that this gets settled this year, and like I said, you'll see Doctor Strange come out, and then you'll get some activity, later May, June, and then kind of late summer, this thing gets settled. And we'll never know the dollar amount, but it will be substantial, and the credit will be there. And there may be a couple other things in place, like, hey, maybe Marvel agrees to publish some, give back some art that they had, or I don't know. There may be some kind of other transfer of things, but that will be the major points: credit and money. In general, I think that there's a lot of creators who are looking at this, who are, contemplating, what happens with us. The problem is there aren't. There certainly are some, but there aren't a huge amount of new characters. There's been artists who have done runs. I got a question the other day about, could Walt Simonson sue for rights with Thor? It's like, no, he did an epic Thor run for sure, but he didn't create that character. He didn't create Thor. And Beta Ray Bill, again, interesting character, but this is only going to work for major characters who are, in major films, and not even kind of a film. Like, nobody's going to be able to sue and get a bunch of traction for the creation of, Kate Hawkeye. That's not. G. Willow Wilson does not have a lawsuit waiting in the wings to get the rights back to Miss Marvel, and she'd have to split the money with Sana Amanat anyway. But I'm just kidding. Anyway, that it's not going to work for a lot of those characters. This only works when it's been a long period of time, and you're one of these classic figures. So I don't know if there's that many of these left. So I don't think you're going to see this situation repeat too often. I also still maintain, and I know I'm in the minority on this one, that there's this whole dialogue about characters are going to go into the public domain, and various people have thoughts and ideas for, hey, once we finally get these characters in the public domain, we're going to do some stories around them. My belief remains, I don't think they're going to get there. I do think there's going to be a halt, a stay. There's going to be it's going to continue to drag out. I don't think stuff's Batman and Superman, I do not see entering the public domain in the next 10 years. I'm sorry. I think it would be awesome for a lot of creators if they did. I think you could potentially get some good stories out of it. But I think the combination of, there's just too much at stake with a lot of these characters. And also, I think that people don't fully understand. Some do. But I don't think the masses fully understand that what entering the public domain actually means and what you actually have rights to. And the fact that it's not like you can just start writing your own Batman adventure with all the different characters and Jim Gordon, the Rogues Gallery, and the Joker and everything. Like, you not all of those pieces enter the public domain, and there's still trademarks and there's still pieces that don't get you there. So I mean, it's not that simple. We're not seeing multi-million-dollar projects starring Black Terror right now, just for what it's worth. But we'll see how it all plays out. I believe there's still a Hail Mary or two. I think the companies that are involved in this, particularly Disney, they have been fighting public domain for Mickey Mouse and other things for a long time, and they're not going to give up on that without a fight. And this is a fight they have a lot of motivation to win and throw a lot of money at, and it's not going to be as easy as people think. But the whole issue around creator rights and who owns what and everything else continues to be an interesting one. I mean, the fascinating dynamic in all this is that you've got, like an Image out there who they can build a business model of, you get to create your own characters. Isn't that cool? You get to own them because they're yours. But this dream that a lot of those projects would go on to become Netflix shows or big Hollywood successes, and it would be worth billions. I mean, that's the part that hasn't really panned out for people. Like there's a very small amount of people, Mark Millar being one of them, where it did work, but in general it doesn't. And there's a lot of creators out there who lost money going and printing books with image, and so that's the it's a tough business. You can keep your own work and potentially lose money on the deal. You could do work for somebody else like a Marvel, and then potentially it takes off and you get no rights or long term money on it. So like it's kind of a I don't know, it's a tough business. Anyway, thank you very much for the question. And let me know what the rest of you think in the comments below. And thanks for listening.